We're live now.
All right. Greetings, everybody. Greetings, commissioners. Happy New Year's. Welcome, staff. We'll call this Caddo Parish Commission work session agenda to order. It's January the 4th at 3:31 p.m. Mr. Everson, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Present.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Present.
Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Cawthorn.
Present.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Present.
Commissioner Taliaferro. Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Commissioner Chavez.
Here.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Here.
There he is. All right, you do have a quorum with 9 of 12 in attendance, and it looks like I'm hearing right now on the phone from Commissioner Burrell, so he ought to be joining soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Everson. Commissioners, please silence your cell phones and place your Wi-Fi on so we'll have a better connection. We will have our invocation led by Commissioner Cawthorn, followed by a Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Epperson.
Let us look to God. Dear gracious eternal Father, we come here this evening with bow down and humble hearts. We matriculate with the spirit of thanksgiving and gratitude, thankful for a new year, 2021. We pray that Heavenly Father for our entire nation, locally, statewide, and at the national level. We pray that Heavenly Father for the continuity of our democracy. And we pray that the work, liberation, discussion, legislation brought before this body today is conducted and processed in a manner that will be pleasing to you. In Christ Jesus' name, we offer this petition. Amen.
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 Let's all stand, please. I will ask all veterans and active military to render the standard hand to brow salute, all others hand across your heart, and we'll repeat the Pledge of Allegiance in unison. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cawthorn and Commissioner Epperson. Mr. Everson?
Okay, that brings us to agenda additions. As you'll recall, during this section, we do need a motion to approve consideration of items under Louisiana Revised Statutes 4217.1.
Epperson moves.
Chair will second.
Okay, and are you all ready for the roll call?
Yeah, I see no comment on that. Let's go ahead and roll call vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Gage Watts, I didn't hear you. You responded. Commissioner Taliaferro. Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, and then Commissioner Gage Watts, did you vote on that? I didn't hear you if you cast a vote. We'll just go ahead. You do have 9 of 12, so that does pass.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Everson.
All right, and then at this point, just to draw your attention to the certificate of teleconference is attached at this section on the agenda. No action is required. It's just to let you know that's where it is.
All right, and I didn't have any agenda additions emailed to me, Mr. Everson.
Okay, I received no others as well. So if you're ready, we can move on to citizens' comments.
Yes, sir. I know we have a bunch. Thank you.
We do. And I'd like to start out just because we have received a high volume of citizens' comments today. I do want to make sure that everybody knows that we have compiled these into a document already that will be sent to every commissioner. And so if for some reason we don't get to all of them, You do have in your bylaws a limit of 15 minutes per side on one issue. All of the comments that I've received have been on the same issue. And so, we just want to make sure everyone knows that you will be getting a full copy of these if you have any questions. And we will try to, stick within our time limit as closely as we can.
And
then,
Mr. Everson, I appreciate that. Let's give the number in case somebody wanted to call in, because I know I had received a couple messages about what the phone number was.
yeah, absolutely. And I should ask now, would you like us to wait before we start for a few phone calls, or go ahead and read and just kind of give that number out while we're reading?
That's what I was thinking. Give the number out and allow people to call into the queue, and then you can start reading on the comments that we know that we already have.
I think that would work great. Okay, so that phone number for people who may want to call in is 318-226-6596. Again, that's 318-226-6596. And the best time to call is probably in about 30 minutes. we may be a little less than that, but we'll go ahead and get started if you're ready to hear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so the first comment that we received is from Mrs. Jacqueline Woodson, and she writes, by the way, all of these comments, for the record, all of these comments are regarding zoning change 2016P. And again, this first one from Jacqueline Woodson says, I'm writing you as a concerned citizen and neighboring landowner of the above mentioned request. I live at 8988 Meadow Creek Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana. My property borders the applicant's property 855 feet on the south side, requesting this zone. The applicant who's requesting this zoning changes property 855 feet on the south side. As a concerned property owner and taxpayer, I am against this zoning change and have concerns. Were policy and procedures properly followed concerning the zone change sign and the letter informing all neighbors affected of this proposed zoning change? The sign was not posted or visible for all to see, and several members of the community did not receive letters from the Metropolitan Planning Commission informing them of the hearing on December 2nd, 2020. Only after it was brought to Alice Correa's attention was the sign posted, after the MPC meeting, which occurred on December 2nd, 2020. The PUD staff report states nearby neighborhoods only included West Park. There is not a West Park subdivision near this location. Our subdivision is referred to as Meadow Creek Estates. What about Cherry Hill and Summerwood subdivisions? Both are less than a mile away. In the remarks of the staff report, it states, per the UDC, dog training falls under the animal care facility use, which is not permitted in any residential zoning district. Animal care facility use is only permitted in commercial and industrial zoning districts and are not suitable for rural residential areas. We are an old established neighborhood with most of us living here for more than 30 years, raising our children and enjoying our retirement. This is not a suitable or feasible situation for anyone. We would like to keep our homes and surrounding property without a dog training, boarding, commercial business, or any business in the middle of our neighborhood. It also states that the PUD staff report the applicant agrees to provide substantive amenities that benefit the surrounding area. What does this actually mean, and is it spelled out what amenities the applicant is required to provide? Is applicant required, or has applicant just agreed to provide? He now is stating he will go bankrupt if this is not passed. How is he going to afford to do the things he is required or has agreed to do if he is close to bankruptcy? Mr. Phillips has had his real estate agent intercede with this case by emailing Mr. Epperson. This agent has blatantly attacked my character along with Mr. Epperson and the MPC. The agent also has many facts wrong or slanted and has gone public on social media. It is also stated applicant will offer or add aesthetic benefit. How can a dog training facility with 15 or more dogs, delivery trucks, employees, parking lot, and dog owners coming and going add aesthetic benefit? And the site plan submitted with their application shows the existing conditions of the property, which are in need of repair. The enclosed structures shown were used for horses, and the last owner converted to a few dog kennels for her own personal use. Miss McDowell raised and showed dogs and has never used a training or boarding facility. I have a statement from her which you should find in the original objections brought forward during the meeting on the 2nd of December. The PUD staff report also states that the proposed training boarding facility structures are at the rear of the property, not readily visible from the street, and set at least 50 feet from the nearest property line. They are very visible from my backyard and surrounding neighbors' yards. The kennel will be less than 50 feet from my property line. I cannot sit or walk in my yard now without applicants' personal dogs barking and running the kennel fencing. This property is referred to several times in original application as an 11.5 acre tract, giving the impression it is the land in the middle of the country. It is 3 subdivision lots connected together, totaling 11.5 acres. Applicant proposes to add aesthetics to alleviate a potential for negative impacts to nearby residences. What are these aesthetics, and who makes sure what is promised or required is kept to specification? By not granting applicants' requests would alleviate the negative impacts to the neighborhood and community. All Dogs Unleashed is a franchise. All franchise have requirements that must be met: size of sign, colors, licenses, etc. What happens if franchise licenses are revoked or not renewed? What kind of sign is required? What do they require of applicant to keep this franchise? This was not addressed in the original application. If he loses franchise, does this become a boarding facility or doggy daycare? I feel there are many unknowns that have not been clarified. I'm asking you to please consider the impact of allowing a business of this magnitude in our small neighborhood community. I moved here to get away from traffic, noise, and the hustle of the city. I, along with many of my friends and neighbors, love the peacefulness of rural living. I'm certain you would not want this type of facility or business in your neighborhood or for a neighbor. I'm not in favor of this zoning change. Thank you for the opportunity to address you with this issue, and I appreciate your time. Sincerely, Jacqueline Sue Woodson. And then after Ms. Woodson's comment, we did receive a petition that has the household that comes from the citizens of Meadow Creek. At this time, I'll read that petition, and it was signed by a number of people. It will be included in your packet. It says, we, the undersigned citizens of Meadow Creek and surrounding neighborhoods, petition the Caddo Parish Commission. We respectfully request the commissioners reconsider the MPC's request for approval on case 20-16-P for rezoning. We are asking the commissioners to vote no to the request based on the following reasons. Let's see. First, most of our neighbors moved into this quiet area and neighborhood to get away from noise pollution and crime associated with the city. We feel that no matter how tall a fence or dense the shrubbery, you can't negate the noise of 19 barking dogs. Second, we are concerned with increased car and truck traffic, ingress and egress. Again, a potential noisy situation with increased traffic risk. Third, while we welcome Mr. Phillips as a member of our neighborhood, we do not welcome Mr. Phillips's business. We frankly think Mr. Phillips should have considered what his neighbors think about his proposed business before he attempted a rezoning request. Fourth, during these turbulent and often divisive times, we would hope the commissioners would consider the unity and cohesiveness of a neighborhood. Granting this request would certainly create negative and harsh opinions against Mr. Phillips going forward. Note to the commissioners, every single household within a quarter mile and many further away has signed this petition against this proposed rezoning. Our district commissioner, Mr. Ken Epperson, has expressed his concern and voted no to this request. He certainly has his finger on the pulse of his constituents and has sided with what he considers the best thing for our neighbors. Fifth, we think the MPC has exceeded its original intent to consider what's best for Caddo Parish and her citizens. During the MPC hearing, Mr. Phillips was obviously well coached and prepared with his presentation. We citizens were unfamiliar with the MPC agenda and were blindsided by the proceedings, which seemed to favor Mr. Phillips. We are concerned that Mr. Phillips, as he stated, spent almost $500,000 and spent a year searching for this perfect property. This seems to be an enormous risk going forward unless one has a reasonable expectation of getting a rezoning request approved. We wonder how this rezoning confidence came about. Does this pass the smell test? We thank the commissioners for their time and attention to this matter, the citizens of Caddo Parish's Meadow Creek and surrounding neighborhoods. And it is signed by those citizens. Again, we'll share that, but It looks like about 30 signatures, perhaps more than that. And then the next comment comes from Mr. William Porter. These comments concern the proposed vote to rezone property located at 8595 Greenwood Spring Ridge Road in Shreveport, Louisiana. The authorized introduction, he just states the agenda item. As a landowner near the proposed dog training facility, I oppose the request to change the zoning. I'm concerned that changing from RA to RA PUD will create a situation that changes the dynamic of the rural agricultural neighborhood that many of us enjoy. This will be increased traffic, increased noise, and disruption from the normal day-to-day activities that the local residents have become accustomed to over the years. There's also a potential to devalue the property from the potential nuisance a dog training facility may create. While Commissioner Epperson, who represents our district, has voiced his opposition, I encourage you to think critically and consider if you would want a facility such as this in your neighborhood or backyard. If the answer is no, please help us by voting no on the proposed zoning change to help maintain the integrity of the neighborhood. And then let's see, Vicky Hall writes, I understand this issue will come up for a vote soon. Please listen to the residents in this area. We do not want this change. We have lived and enjoyed our peace and quiet here for many years. We are not interested in a business that would severely alter this. I'm asking for a vote of no. Thank you. The next comment comes from Mr. and Mrs. Michael and Billy Bryce, who say, to whom it may concern, I'm writing to implore you to intervene and stop the rezoning of our neighborhood. My husband and I chose a rural community and built our home on Meadow Creek Drive. We have enjoyed the solitude and beauty away from the den of urban traffic and accompanying interruptions for 38 years. However, we recently noticed that rezoning of our area has been approved for a dog training kennel business. We are very concerned that this will not only bring a cacophony of persistent barking and constant traffic, but that will allow future businesses in our area. This would devastate the ideal surroundings and, most importantly, devalue our property. I have personally experienced the shrill, continuous barking of the 3 or 4 dogs currently living at the property in question. They bark incessantly when they see me walking and are heard by me as I walk half a mile away from their location. It is very loud. I cannot imagine the stress of listening to more than 3 or 4. And my husband and I are in our 70s, as are most of the residents here. Our plans work for the remainder of our functional years in the ideal setting we worked so hard to have and have enjoyed for so long. When the time comes, we hope to sell our home and property and provide a long-term care expenses. That hope would be destroyed if rezoning devalues our property. The next comment comes from Gilbert and Latricia Hayes, who say, I am writing to urge the members to deny the request for rezoning for the property purchased by Mr. Troy Phillips for the purpose of kenneling and training dogs. There is a great deal of research to support that dogs bark when experiencing separation anxiety. For example, those separated from their owners, as per the case with a dog kennel. Please understand, many homeowners in this area have dogs and horses and are in fact pet lovers. What we do not want is constant cacophony of dogs barking to disrupt the peace and quiet we moved out here for. No amount of fencing or pampas grass will, as suggested by Mr. Phillips, will prevent this kind of noise. Please put yourselves in our shoes. Think about living next door and behind a neighbor whose dogs bark constantly, then multiply that number by 13 dogs. Do you really think that's what a residential area needs? There are many areas that are zoned for commercial businesses, which we encourage. This, however, is not one of these. When Mr. Phillips purchased the property, he did so with the knowledge that it was clearly zoned residential. This should prompt all members to vote no and to keep the integrity of this neighborhood and all residential neighborhoods in Shreveport. Lastly, if zoned commercial, what would prevent other businesses from buying up available property and changing the integrity of this residential neighborhood? There are too many commercially available buildings empty in the city of Shreveport. Please require him to utilize what is available. Thank you. And then the next comment comes from, let's see, Ronnie and Terry Ennis. It says, it's been brought to our attention that Troy Phillips, owner of All Dogs Unleashed, requested for our area and the Meadow Creek Estates to be rezoned. The following comments are our concerns. We would no longer have the peacefulness and safety of our neighborhood. These two factors are why so many of us moved here. 20 plus years ago, we built our, 20 plus years ago, we built our home, and now for the request to rezone. What comes next? A used car lot, a welding business? The third reason is property devaluation. And the fourth reason, we are landowners and taxpayers in Caddo Parish. We urge members of the MPC to deny the request. We totally oppose the rezone request. Thank you. And then we have another comment from Ms. Pam Ward, who says this email comes to voice my complaint regarding the noted zoning change in District 12 that will soon be coming before the Caddo Commission. This will allow a canine training boarding kennel to operate in my neighborhood, which would drastically change this quiet country setting. I humbly ask that you vote against this change. I'm sure you would not welcome such a noisy business in the vicinity of your home. Me and my neighbors moved to this area to enjoy the peace and quiet of a rural setting, and certainly didn't want the additional traffic through the neighborhood that I fear will occur if this zoning change happens, not to mention the noise of multiple dogs 24/7. Thank you for your consideration when voting on this issue. And I believe that I have caught all of the comments. I do want to correct, when I was reading the petition, I understated the number of signatures. It looks like the number of signatures on there is a little over 60. So it's, I had said 30, but I didn't see all the pages. And I do believe that we have a caller on the line. Michelle, do we still have the caller holding?
We have a few callers.
Okay, do we know if they are for or against?
I'm not sure, but I can find out real quick.
No, that's okay. I think, well, Commissioner Chavez, would you like us to just go ahead and allow the comments now, and then I can read the emails that we've received that are pro this?
Yes, Mr. Everson, thank you. We'll just make it convenient for the citizen that's on hold. We'll allow them to speak, and then we'll go back to the written comments.
That sounds great.
Ms. Elder? Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker. State your name for the record. You have 3 minutes, okay? You're welcome. You can go ahead with your comment.
Pam Elder. I am a board member for the Humane Society of Northwest Louisiana, and I've known Troy 2 years. He has trained 14 of our dogs, 3 for the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Department for free, and 2 of them are working dogs now. They're used for drugs, and they're doing great. I know that Troy is got a fire in his gut for working with these dogs, and I think we would be remiss not to let him have an opportunity as a small business to have his place out there. There will be no problems. He has improved on the property. His fences are secure. Better than when he got the place. He's also improved the inside of the property. He's a disabled Navy veteran for our country. When we can't support people like Troy that want to do nothing but be a part of Shreveport, which he's already invested in with Caddo Sheriff, with us, with the community in Shreveport and Bossier. He brings in money from Arkansas, East Texas, Oklahoma, all over. The people out there that are afraid of Troy or saying they're scared that his dogs are going to hurt their grandkids or whatever, that is so unfounded. If you go out there and look at his property, and you see him and see what he does, you will see that that is not going to be the case at all. In his current location on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway, he has had no complaints, and he backs up to a residential facility, a residence. I just can't say enough about him. He's the kind of person that we need in Shreveport. This is what we're trying to attract, is people like him that are already invested in the community and are doing good things. We should do everything we can to get him here and to keep him here. Otherwise, we're going to lose him to another state or to Bossier City. And to have all dogs unleashed in Shreveport is an opportunity that I just do not want to see us miss. And also, it concerns me, as because he is a disabled vet, that he's not being I would just encourage, if there's anybody listening that are neighbors, go up and meet this guy. Go look at his property. You will see that there is not a finer human being on the planet. And I just would encourage you to do your due diligence before you say no to any rezoning out there, because Troy has done everything that you've asked him to do. And I want to see it work for him, because we need him. We need to keep people like him here. I would pay to have him as my neighbor. And honestly, all those people out there, go meet him, and I guarantee you they're not going to be worried about one thing, and you'll be glad that you got to know somebody of his character. And also, he has trained 14 of our dogs that we thought were just hopeless, and they all have homes and are doing well. And without him here, we could not have helped those dogs either. So, and I'd be glad to answer any questions from neighbors if they want my phone number. I'd be glad to tell them anything that I can about Troy. Thank you for this opportunity.
Does that conclude your comment?
It does, unless there's any questions. I guess there aren't.
No, ma'am, they can't do dialogue back and forth
Can't
during
do-
this time.
Okay, that's it then. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We have one more. Mr. Phillips, are you still on the line? Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker. Go ahead and state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes, okay? No, sir. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, you can go ahead with your comment.
Hello, my name is Troy Phillips. I'm actually the property owner and the owner of All Dogs Unleashed.
You can go ahead.
We're going to do, sorry, I'm hearing lagging on the computer, so that's my fault. I'm actually the owner of the 8595 Greenwood Springridge Road and the owner of All Dogs Unleashed here in Shreveport. In regards to the high traffic that they're talking about, my business has very limited traffic coming in and out, as into I pick up the dogs and drop the dogs off. Okay. I just want a fair chance of this. My neighbors haven't spoken with me. Mr. Epperson hasn't spoken with me. I sent him an email briefly that talks about introducing myself, and the only confirmation or anything I heard back from him was not the information thing. I would appreciate if I had the fair chance where somebody can come see my property, as Mrs. Elder just said. Okay. I understand the neighbors' concerns and safety. I have a clean track record. This property has had dogs on the property for the last several years without incident. There are several barriers the dogs have to get through already to get to the exterior perimeter, okay, that the neighbors are concerned about. I'm updating all that according to the permits and stuff and requirements that I'm asked to do, and going above and beyond. All right. Also, with the neighbors, they need to understand they have horses, chickens, fine, but that is my perimeter of the fence that I bought. And if it doesn't go through, I have no problem taking the perimeter of my fence down, and they can put their own fence up to keep their horses net off my property. I moved out there to enjoy it just as much as they want to. And we can do that together if they give us a chance. Okay. I encourage any of you guys on the commission to come out to my house, give me a call. We'll set up a time before Thursday. I am asking for a fair chance. I've put my heart and soul into this business, and it's either going to cause me to lose my home, my business, or possibly both. That's all I'm asking for. I do so much for this community, and I don't do it for the praise or rewards. I do it out of the kindness of my heart. But at the same time, this is how I'm being treated and looked upon without one chance, because of one neighbor stirring the pot for everybody else. Please, just come out to the property. Give me a call. Give me a chance. I have neighbors behind me 40 feet out my back door without one complaint and one fence keeping me from them. Do you guys have any questions for me before I don't know. Any questions for me?
They can't do back and forth dialogue.
Oh, okay. Yep, not a problem.
All right, does that conclude your comment?
Yes.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Michelle, do we have another caller on the line still?
We do. Hold on 1 second. Hello, Mr. Corey. Okay, one moment. I'm going to put you on speakerphone, and you have 3 minutes for your comment, okay? Yes, I'll let you know. Hold on 1 second, okay? Okay, go ahead and state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Quentin Corey. I was actually the acting realtor for Mr. Phillips through the purchase of the property. I also spoke at the MPC meeting. I'm speaking on his behalf, of course, to allow this to happen.
I've been with them hand in hand through this whole process. You know, as a realtor in the city of Shreveport and Bossier, North Louisiana, specifically Shreveport, it's important that I can relate to my clients' process if they need to go through this, and the process they would go through with the commission and the NPC, and what that process is like. Up until this point, it has not been a great process, not just because I'm representing somebody who wants a certain way, but the whole process in general. For the last meeting, one of the District 12 commissioner sent an email prior to the meeting urging his opposition without even hearing Mr. Phillips's what he's going to be doing to improve the property, or his speech or anything. Didn't give him an opportunity to speak at all. There were letters of oppositions that were misguided sent in, and there was no remedies listened to on Mr. Phillips's behalf, addressing some of those things that letters of opposition that were sent in. 98% of the time, Mr. Phillips's dogs are going to be indoors. They're trained indoors and they're boarded indoors. They're only let outside to use the restroom. And when they're outside, they're going to be behind 3 layers of fencing. One of them, a 10-foot tall fence. So for, you know, horses being chased, chickens being gotten, people running up to the fence and scaring children, none of that's going to be happening. Also, he picks up and delivers all of his animals of maybe about, well, not about 90% of his animals, he picks up and delivers. So traffic to the property is not going to happen either. None of these messages are being delivered to the neighbors of who are opposing this. And so I'm calling in to give facts of how he's going to be representing his business. He deserves an opportunity. He deserves a fair shot. And relationships between neighbors and people on the board should not overshadow the opportunity this man should be given. And so I'm speaking in favor of approval of this, so he can show what type of neighbor he can be, and the tens of thousands of dollars he's going to be investing into this property to make it safe for all his surrounding neighbors. There's a dog business right up the block that does the exact same thing in the same district. There's already a precedent set for this. This property has been used by the previous 2 owners for the same thing, but it was their personal hobby, and they had multiple dogs on the property with less restrictions and safety for the neighbors surrounding. So the precedent's already been set for dogs to be on this property. It's 11.5 acres. So please come out to the property and visit this spread. There's worse situations, like the place that just got shut down in Bossier, for people mistreating animals. This man is one of the most kindest-hearted persons that I've ever met. I know I'm probably exceeding my 3 minutes. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Have a good day, sir.
Okay, and I believe that was our last caller. Is that still the case, Michelle? Have you got anything else?
That was it.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, commissioners, would you like me to go ahead and continue reading the comments?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Everson.
Great. And just as a recap, if there are callers still out there looking to call in, that phone number is 318-226-6596. We have completed the opposition public comments, and these are those that are in support. And let's see, I will start with Julie Stackhouse, who writes, I would like to extend my, oh, I'm sorry. Let me reset my timer. Make sure that I stick on time. All right. We'll start with Julie Stackhouse, who writes, I would like to extend my support for All Dogs Unleashed, Shreveport's request to relocate to their new 11.5 acre property to expand their business. ADU provides a much needed service in our area and helps to support local not-for-profits that aid our community. There are currently full-time animal rescues located in neighborhoods around Shreveport with no incidents and no complaints from neighbors. ADU is not even a rescue or a shelter, but trains dogs on how to properly behave. The future neighbors' concern about safety and noise are understandable but unfounded. Would these same neighbors complain if a Starbucks or a gas station was built in their neighborhood? Likely not, yet any convenience business would bring far more noise, traffic, and safety risks than a pet training facility will. Also, in a time where small businesses are closing in droves due to the pandemic, Shreveport and Caddo Parish should be encouraging its thriving small businesses rather than hindering their growth. Finally, Shreveport and Caddo have for years lost businesses to Bossier and surrounding parishes. We should all do what we can to keep our loyal small businesses here. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope you will award All Dogs Unlimited the approval it seeks. The next email comes from Mr. Cody McKellar. I want to write to express my opinion on the upcoming zoning hearing for All Dogs Unleashed. First of all, I am a resident at 12067 Providence and Shreveport, which I believe is in this district. Secondly, I am a past client of Mr. Phillips and All Dogs Unleashed. I have a dog that I was embarrassed to go out into public with because of behavioral issues he had. After working with Mr. Phillips, he has become a completely different dog. We were even able to take him to Pooch's on the Pond, which is at the Mudbugs game. And Mr. Phillips changed my dog's life and has made my life considerably better. It is a huge mistake to let someone like Mr. Phillips leave our city. He constantly volunteers his time to help Caddo Parish Animal Control, and including free training to help place dogs. I urge you to consider approving the zoning change for All Dogs Unleashed. Mr. Phillips and his business are an asset to Shreveport, and it would be a shame to drive him out. And I believe we have a caller on the line. Michelle, do we have a caller on the line at this time? You're muted, Michelle.
Do have a caller. Hold on one second. Hello, is this Miss Catlett? Hey, hold on one moment. I'm gonna put you on speaker. Go ahead and state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Okay? You're welcome. Hold on one second. Let me put you on speaker. Okay, you can go ahead with your comment.
Hey, hi. My name is Terry Catlett, and met Troy 2 years ago with All Dogs Unleashed. My name is Terry Catlett.
We can hear you. You can
Okay.
go. You can go ahead with your comment.
With All Dogs Unleashed. He trained our rescue dog, and My name is Terry Catlett. Sorry. Anyway, when we met, he trained our rescue dog, and it was a success. We did the board and train, and that was 2 years ago. Since then, I've come to know him, but I would encourage all of his neighbors that seem to be opposed to this to visit his current place and interview the businesses around and the neighbors around. There's nothing to be afraid of. He doesn't mistreat the dogs. Dogs are his passion and his community and his country. So again, with everybody else, that I feel like he needs to be given the opportunity, and it would be a huge mistake to lose him. So I appreciate your time, and I hope that happens.
Does that conclude your comment?
It does.
Okay, have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, I don't believe we have any other callers on the line at this time, do we?
We do not.
Okay. I will resume the written comments at this point, and if we have any other callers, we will let you all know. One moment. Okay, the next message comes from Kathy Burton and Carolyn Welch. It says, we are writing to you today on behalf of Troy Phillips, the owner of All Dogs Unleashed. We truly want you to know and understand the man who is Troy Phillips in our opinion. My partner and I have adopted 3 dogs from the Humane Society of Northwest Louisiana. We so strongly believe in the mission of the Humane Society that we supported them as much as we can. Now, please understand that we live in Sterlington, Louisiana, and Morehouse Parish. We first adopted 2 young female boxers about 4 months apart. When we brought these 2 boxers home with us, they started having behavioral issues with one of the boxers. We reached out to the board of the Humane Society for their assistance and expertise. They immediately referred us to Mr. Phillips and All Dogs Unleashed. When we contacted Troy, he did not hesitate to offer to drive 2 hours to us to evaluate our 2 dogs and their behavior in our home. He spent 2.5 to 3 hours in our home for an evaluation. Now, mind you, this was on a Sunday, of which I am sure is to be his day off. He spent a total of 6 to 7 hours with travel time included on our boxers and us, with no guarantee or financial commitment that he could help our situation, or so that he could help our situation. There are not many business owners that we know of that would invest that much time without financial incentive up front. Not only did he evaluate our dogs, he took the time and patience to reassure us as pet owners. We wanted to make sure we felt comfortable with both dogs before he left. He gave us tools and recommendations to use until we decided if training was necessary. We ultimately decided to board and train both of our dogs with Troy. We took the dogs to All Dogs Unleashed in Shreveport on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway. We were astonished that it was very close to a residential area and other businesses. We went inside of the business. It was very clean, quiet, and secure. A video monitor was on the wall with numerous camera views of the entire facility. We did not hesitate to leave our dogs in his very capable hands. When we picked up our dogs from All Dogs Unleashed, we were shown to a practice conference room. The dogs were brought from the storefront to the practice conference room. I mention this because there is a business that occupied the space in between the storefront and the practice room. The business was an auto repair shop. The bay doors were open at all times and employees and customers were present. The dogs were in very close proximity to this business and the residential neighborhood being behind All Dogs Unleashed. In addition to this, Shreveport-Barksdale Highway has a high volume of traffic. It's our understanding that there has been no prior complaints regarding this type of business in this specific area. Troy has now purchased an 11.5 acre piece of property with the closest neighbor being over 100 yards away. We would like to reassure the concerns of noise and safety that the Caddo Parish Commission may have. With Troy's expertise and knowledge, we feel confident that he would make safety his first priority at this location. Caddo Parish and the surrounding communities would greatly benefit from his entrepreneurial services. We stand behind Troy Phillips and All Dogs Unleashed, and we pray for a positive resolution for all parties involved. That's signed Kathy Burton and Carolyn Welch. And then we have the next comment from Miss Jackie Bush, who writes, "My name is Jackie Bush. While I don't reside in the state of Louisiana, I support the Greenwood, Shreveport, Bossier markets as a neighbor residing in Wascom, Texas. I'm also the vice president of the Humane Society of Northwest Louisiana, a private no-kill dog rescue in Caddo Parish, not affiliated with the National Humane Society. I attend church in Bossier at the Airline Drive Church of Christ. So while I can't vote in your area, I do spend my money, efforts, time, and support there. I come to you today for two reasons. Number one, to see if you really are a man of integrity that will read and respond to the mail you receive as a professional should. And secondly, to implore you to allow the zoning for All Dogs Unleashed to move their facility to the 11.5 acres they have purchased. It's sad how Mr. Phillips has had to fight for the right to have his small business that literally saves dogs. The Humane Society has sent numerous dogs through the dogs program offered at ADU with amazing results. I challenge you to find a dog behavioralist program in your community that has the successful results Troy offers. Please allow this veteran to operate his small business doing that which he is skillfully trained at on the 11 acres he's purchased. I could almost understand the concerns if he was wanting to move his business to an area of town that is heavily populated, but he already is established in an area like that. But to deny him the right to use his 11.5 acres for his small business is pathetic. It's not as anyone will be able to hear what's going on during training sessions. There's too much land space in between for that to be a problem. Sincerely, Jackie Bush." The next message comes from Carla White. Carla writes, "I'm writing to show my support for All Dogs Unleashed to be allowed to open as a business on Greenwood Spring Ridge Road. All Dogs Unleashed is a very successful dog boarding and training business. Clients even include the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Department. All Dogs Unleashed currently sits off of Shreveport-Barksdale Highway, right next to a heavily populated neighborhood. The neighbors there are thankful for the local small business who has managed to keep their business open during these horrible times when so many have been affected by the COVID pandemic. The property Troy Phillips has bought on Greenwood Spring Ridge Road was previously zoned for a business of dog breeding. A successful dog boarding and training business would be a very positive business to bring to this area. All Dogs Unleashed is a business that brings customers from all over the Arklatex, even customers from Texas and Mississippi. Mr. Phillips has helped so many in our area with training their dogs and providing them a clean, safe environment to board their dogs. Mr. Phillips is very involved in our community. In his free time, he's helped many of us catch loose or stray dogs. He's helped follow neighborhood cleanups from major storms. He's also used his free time to collect items for the Hurricane Laura victims in Lake Charles, even transporting the donated items down himself on 2 different occasions. Mr. Phillips is an asset to the community, and I would hate to see him leave our area if his business doesn't get approved at Greenwood Spring Ridge Road location. Please vote and encourage others to vote to approve this new location for All Dogs Unleashed on Greenwood Spring Ridge Road. Thank you. The next message comes from M. Rena and Watson Brittenham. It says, please accept mine and Watson's letter in support of Troy Phillips and All Dogs Unleashed Shreveport. I'm a resident of Bossier Parish, and I will not be able to speak via Zoom, but let me share with you how Mr. Phillips and his business has helped me. I discovered All Dogs Unleashed Louisiana shortly after adopting a dog from the Humane Society of Northwest Louisiana. Watson was a wonderful and had a great personality, but was slightly ungovernable and had security issues. Rescue dogs have often have issues from their lives before rescue. Knowing what a great dog he was, I worked with him, but realized we needed professional help. I contacted the Humane Society, who recommended All Dogs Unleashed Shreveport and Troy Phillips. I contacted him and his business. I was impressed with his professionalism and his willingness to make arrangements to get Watson into training. When meeting with him at the business location, it was clean, inside and outside, and did not smell. Mr. Phillips and his employees were concerned about my dog. My experience with him and his business was first class. When Watson came home, he was governable and his security issues were decreased. After completing training with All Dogs Unleashed, Mr. Phillips has provided support when an issue comes up with Watson. Had I not had this option of training available in our area, I might have had to return Watson to the rescue. Since my experience with All Dogs Unleashed was a positive one, I have recommended multiple friends to him and his business. I've heard nothing but praise from everyone I have referred to him and his business. Of the recommendations I have made, I think he's trained about 5 or 6 of my friends' dogs. Everyone was very happy with their experience and their dog after training. I understand that he has helped Humane Society of Northwest Louisiana with dogs that need help to be adopted. I'm aware that he has provided support by collecting food or supplies for animal shelters in the southern part of the state during our hurricane season. Businesses that give back and support their community are important. I cannot say enough good things about my experience with Mr. Phillips and All Dogs Unleashed Shreveport since my first experience with him. Let me add that Mr. Phillips is a disabled veteran who chose to stay in our area and then chose to open a business. In my opinion, that Shreveport Caddo Parish needs more businesses that are willing to locate here and grow their business. This business has grown and will continue to grow. During the pandemic, pet ownership has increased and training will be needed more than ever. At a time with our economy is in shaky time, it would be a shame to lose another employer and tax-paying business for our area. I'm sure that this is a scary time to be a small business owner, yet have a small business trying to grow their business and make an investment in property in our community. It would be a shame for our community to lose this business. Please consider voting in favor of Mr. Phillips and his business, All Dogs Unleashed Shreveport. I believe this will be a welcome addition to the area where he plans to relocate. He will be a good neighbor in the area. Thank you for your consideration of my letter, and if I may be of further assistance, feel free to contact me. The next comment comes from Susan Fant Vatan, who writes, good afternoon. I'm reaching out to you about Troy Phillips and his business, All Dogs Unleashed. It is concerning no commissioner has actually reached out to Troy to visit the facility, new or old. I feel that if each commissioner would actually visit the facility, they would be able to understand that there will be 3 layers of fencing securing the dogs with 10-foot fence around the inside fences, which is 2 feet taller than required. You would also realize that these dogs are not in any way going to be allowed to run the entire property freely. Training is serious and it's not playtime for the dogs. It's discipline and learning time. I feel that the commissioners cannot make an intelligent decision without actually seeing and knowing what is actually being planned. Shreveport and Caddo is the second most shrinking. Shreveport and Caddo is the second most shrinking mid-sized city in the nation. This is a veteran from up north who moved here to be closer to family and opened an amazing national franchise. Troy has helped tremendously in the community and not just dogs. He actually took a dog from Caddo Parish Animal Shelter to make a full assessment of the dog outside of the shelter. He was contacted by the director at no charge. Troy went to the shelter to help. He has worked with Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office training dogs at no charge. He's repaired fences for people who want when their dogs keep escaping at no charge. He's trained dogs for rescue at no charge. He's voluntarily went to Beaumont to help when it flooded and actually collected food, clothes, generators, water, food, and filled a trailer twice that he took to Lake Charles and surrounding areas. He supports many local charitable organizations for children, women, and the homeless. Why would he want to lose someone who gives so much and is so valuable to this community? There are dogs that he has trained that without his training would have likely ended up in the local shelter because families were frustrated with the dog's behavior. Troy is a very meticulous person. His facility is kept clean and spotless. Troy's a rule follower. He does the right thing. He would never compromise the serenity of the neighborhood. If anyone ever had a complaint, he would listen with an open mind and find a way to come to an agreeable solution. This is his business. This is how he makes a living, and he's passionate about what he does. In conclusion, I implore each commissioner to contact Troy and visit his facility to see for yourself the planning that has gone into All Dogs Unleashed. Maybe Mr. Epperson could hold a small meeting with the neighbors that are upset and let them meet their new neighbor and let Troy personally address any concerns. This might put their minds at ease with all the what ifs. Thank you for your time. And that concludes the time that we have for those comments. I don't believe we have any other callers on the line at this time. Michelle, could you correct me if I'm wrong?
We do have one caller, but she submitted an email that was read earlier in the meeting.
Okay, well, if we could just let her know that we will include her comment that she's already shared. And just to reiterate, commissioners, I know that was a lot. There are still a couple of emails we probably didn't get to. You will receive a document that has everything. And, you know, for anybody who may be listening, if you did send in or submit public comments, they will be submitted to each commissioner. And that brings us to the end of our public comments that we've received.
Thank you for reading through that, Mr. Everson. Just so the citizens know, a lot of people had the comments either for or against this. This immediate zoning case is not going to be taken up today. We will vote on it to move forward to Thursday. Either vote to move it forward or vote on it today in the work session, and then it'll lay over for 2 weeks. I know a lot of people are watching, and they're sometimes confused when they watch the live stream and we start taking up a different topic. So this is our citizens comments area where if you'd like to make a comment about anything that resides on the agenda, now is the time, just to fill the citizens in. Thank you, Mr. Everson.
Thank you. And at this point, would you like me to move on?
Absolutely.
Great. Our next item is visitors. I'm not aware of any visitors that are scheduled for today. So we'll move on to reports. We have the administrative report. And you'll see your November financials attached. Dr. Wilson, did y'all have anything else today?
Yes, sir. Typically we, as standard, you'll ask us to give you an update on the monument progress. So at this time, I'd like to advise you that we just recently received the final technical review from the consultant, and we are in the process of incorporating that into our RFP, and that should be forthcoming in 3 weeks. That should be on the screen. Also, just want to make you aware of the fact that tomorrow I'll be participating in a COVID-19 vaccine rollout program, a meeting with Dr. White's tomorrow from 1 to 3. And she's going to be briefing us on what the state plans are relative to helping get the vaccines out to more citizens. So I'll have more on that after tomorrow's meeting. But we will do what we can to assist in that endeavor. I believe that's all I have for you all at this point. I'll answer any questions you may have for me at this time.
Commissioner Burrell, I see your hand up. You'll lead the way. Mr. Everson, can you unmute Commissioner Burrell?
I have asked to unmute, and
Okay, I think I'm good.
there he
Now,
is.
we're down. Well, I was waiting for a commissioner's remark. I just put my hand up early.
Oh, we can hang tight then. I just, Dr. Wilson asked for any questions and I saw you were the only one with a hand up.
Yeah,
I have, yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Epperson, Mr. Chair.
I got you next, Commissioner Epperson.
Okay.
Let's see, Mr. Everson, I see that the November financials are attached. We'll just forego and move right into Commissioner remarks so that Commissioner Burrell and then Commissioner Epperson can go ahead. Commissioner Burrell, go ahead. You take the lead.
Commissioner Burrell, you're still muted. Commissioner Burrell, he's trying to unmute.
There we go. Okay, again, just wanted to welcome everybody back. A happy New Year's. Hopefully, everybody, family, came back to 2021 safe. I'm glad to see Todd. I was concerned about you. I'm glad to see you doing well. And at this time, that's about it, Mr. Chairman. Make a comment later on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Epperson, I got you on the board.
Okay, Dr. Wilson, I just wanted to, what about the verbiage that we wanted to put on the wall surrounding the rebel monument?
Yes, sir. I did get a quote today of $980, and I asked for a sample of the work before we proceed with the project.
Okay, and that should be forthcoming, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'd like to welcome each and everyone back and wish you a blessed and a happy and a safe new year. As I always do, I always give a COVID update. First of all, I would like to thank all of our healthcare workers in the hospitals, the clinics, the doctors, the nurses, the anesthesiologists, the phlebotomists, our emergency workers in the ambulances for their unwavering support that they have rendered during this pandemic. And it's my prayers and my wishes that everyone that has contracted this disease and that they would have a speedy recovery, and those that have lost a loved one that have gone on, I wish the condolences for their families and hope that their lives will be blessed in the future. As of today, the United States of America has 20,649,941 cases of contracted COVID, 351,774 deaths and counting, 33 days in a row with over 100,000 hospitalizations within the United States. Many hospitals are to capacity. They are having to put up temporary facilities and go in the hallways and use the conference rooms. The state of Louisiana, 321,000 and counting, up 5,783 from 24 hours ago. The deaths, 7,537, up 49 and counting from yesterday. Caddo Parish, out of the state of Louisiana, we're number 4 in the state as for this COVID-19 being contracted, 18,245. That's up 584 and counting as of yesterday. Deaths to this date, 521, up 4 from yesterday. Also, many of you noticed that I always would mention to you how important it is that we wear our mask. And please wear your mask over your nose and your mouth. Your masks are not chin straps. They're not muzzles for your mouth. They should be worn completely over your nose and your mouth to cover it completely. Whereas you won't contract the disease, the particulates in the air, or you sneeze or whatever, and those particulates won't spread to no one else. We have taxed our military services and primarily our National Guard units. They are doing triple and quadruple duty. They are being deployed in hot zones. They are being used to work our tornadoes and hurricanes and floods, passed out thousands of MREs, thousands of pounds of ice, high water vehicle rescues, plus they have to continue their training, their 2-week obligation, and their monthly summer camps, plus to prepare themselves to relieve active duty units that's in hot zones. Some information that I cannot divulge because of security, but I would ask that you would go to the DOD website and see how the COVID-19 is affecting our military. Our national security can be affected. It is important that we follow the COVID guidelines. Wear your mask, your 6 feet distance, avoid massive crowds, because this thing is for real and getting worse. Also, I would like to announce, most of you know that I always have 2 major, what I call district informative meetings in my district each year. Due to COVID, I was scheduled to do March the 12th of last year of 2020. However, when the COVID guidelines came in, I had to cancel it in person. My vehicle is still loaded with a wealth of information that I've received from Washington, D.C., from the Veterans Administration, to all other areas in D.C. that I was intended to pass out at that meeting. So this year, on January the 14th, 2021, at 6:00 p.m., I will hold my first district informative meeting via teleconference. The call-in number will be 425-436-6370. The access code will be 2339690 #. You can contact the commission office and get that information, or you can email me and I will send that to you. Of course, I would do everything virtually that I would do in person. However, all the information that I had that I normally bring out to the meetings, when they're in physical, I bring them down to Government Plaza and put them on tables, and those citizens that wish to venture out can come in and pick up literature from things relative to the Veterans Administration, to economic development, and a wealth of information and handouts for your need. Dr. Wilson, if you would you prepare a report? I understand that the IDB board met, and we all know that Libby Glass ceased operations, I think, December the 31st in Shreveport. And I believe there was a rebate check of probably over $500,000 that should have been refunded back to Caddo Parish from Libby Glass. And I think it's to be broken down into the taxing entities. And if you would have that information to relate to the public upon next Thursday.
Okay, sir.
All right. Mm-hmm. I'd also like to thank Mr. Ken Ward and in our Public Works Department, Stephen Walker, our new director, Mr. Weaver. They have recently started submitting pre-application conference information from the Metropolitan Planning Commission to me. For some reason, during the spring and the summer of this year, I was not included in that pre-conference information, which a lot of things probably could have been a little different, especially items 2011P and 2016P that we are debating and deliberating at this point in time. Had I been included initially, to make sure that I would inform everybody as to what our positions are and what the residents' positions are relative to zoning issues. So I thank them for submitting those pre-conference application meetings to me. Of course, in that, all documentation is submitted, what the individual is requesting to do. It shows a site plan, it shows a map, so I can base all of my information initially from what I see there. However, many of you know that we are not meeting in person at the Caddo Parish Commission. So don't think I'm missing in action from any other place, because I'm still not meeting at my church. I go to prayer service by teleconference. I go to Sunday service and Sunday school by Zoom. And I do our daily prayer services and everything by Zoom. I would not subject myself to this virus because of my family and my mother, who's in a rehabilitation center, to subject myself to this disease, because it is for real. And if you don't think about it, read the paper and listen to the news if you don't believe it. I also like to thank Jimmy Whittington and Stephen Walker. We've had some land clearing in my district. And any of you that know me, out of the 22 years that I've been here, everything that goes on in my district, I'd like to know about it. I don't care what it is, how big or how small it is. And my constituents know that they can contact me about it. I appreciate them giving me the information relative to the land clearing on Lambert, just off of Calderwood in the Timberline subdivision. I also thank them for giving me the information relative to the land clearing at Industrial Loop and I-20 overpass and Greenwood Road. They're clearing out about 80 acres over there. So I want to make sure anything that goes on into my district, let me know about it, because my constituents contact me and I would like to give them answers and factual information. If I can't get it, I'll get it to them and tell them where they can go and get it from. Dr. Wilson, you mentioned about the COVID vaccination meeting you have is tomorrow?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, that was on my agenda. I've received several calls from citizens asking about Walgreens, I think, and CVS. They say they saw it on the news. So as you know, in God we trust, but for man, I want it in black and white, and you're heading in the right direction. So if you will share that information with me, and I will share it, factual information to my customers relative to how they can receive the shots.
Yes, sir.
The official notification, Overton Brooks VA Medical Center. I just want everybody to know that, you know, sometimes people think because you are who you are, you're elected official or you're a leader or something, that you look for things ahead of everybody else. I've been approached twice about receiving the COVID vaccine. And both times I stated that once all of our pertinent personnel, our medical personnel, our seniors, our nursing home, our vital information, then I would take the vaccination. I don't want to go ahead of no one else. And that same situation came from the Veterans Administration. I've had a number of veterans call me in the last few days. So that's why we're going to be having Overton Brooks VA Medical Center on Thursday to give factual information about the rollout with the COVID vaccine vaccinations for our veterans. So my last item is the $25,000 that we allotted for the Metropolitan Planning Commission, I think, to do virtual applications, because they feared the applicants and the MPC staff might contract COVID by getting applications in person. Does that allow for citizens to access the Metropolitan Planning Commission meeting and the ZBA meetings virtually, the same as it would the applicant? Because I think it's just as important that we would not subject our citizens to come down and meet in person in a 3 or 4 hour Metropolitan Planning Commission than it would be for an applicant to put in an application virtually. I think that's important, because some people might have a tendency to think that that may be a deterrent to having people, not be able to come down because they fear of contracting COVID. And a matter of fact, I got 2 people that will be quarantining because they was around someone that contracted COVID that would have liked to attended the meeting of the Metropolitan Planning Commission on the 6th. So with that, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. On that question for the 25,000, I'll get with Mr. Clark and get you an answer before Thursday. I know they met with a really good company out of Houston to implement some really cool digital procedures so the citizens can do the application process virtually. I had a meeting with them and they showed me it was very impressive, but I'll get him to do a meeting with the entire commission and answer your questions on the Zoom meetings.
But they have a big meeting coming up on the 6th at 3 o'clock. And a couple of people was around someone that tested positive for COVID, and they won't be able to attend in person. So I think it's just as important as the citizens to participate virtually at an MPC meeting as it is the citizens participating virtually on our meetings. We're in the same building.
I agree 100%.
That's something that needs to be addressed, and if it can't be addressed, I think we need to cancel those meetings until it can be addressed.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I'll get with Mr. Clark on that. I got Commissioner Hopkins and then Commissioner Atkins next on the board.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I just wanted to take this time to thank the commissioners and staff, their concern and prayers during my illness. I'm feeling better. Still got a ways to go, but things are looking up. I also wanted to recognize Director Weaver and Dr. Ward. I had a few calls on New Year's Eve, and Public Works went out and took care of the problems, and at least looked at them and did what they could. And I appreciate, I hated to call on a holiday, but they didn't have any problem going out and looking at it and taking care of it. And thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Hopkins, I'm glad to see you back participating in the meetings. I'm glad you're feeling better. Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
I got a call this weekend from a constituent who was concerned that she could not get through to Animal Services, and in particular, Animal Services animal control officer regarding some problems with a neighborhood dog in her community. And I was just wondering, did we have crews working over the weekend, or?
Yes, sir. We always have ACOs responding after duty, doing after duty hours as well as normal hours. So
Okay.
Just call us, and we have an answering service that will forward that to the ACO on duty, and they will respond.
Well, this constituent said the call service was very helpful and polite, but she was under the impression that there were no animal control officers working over the weekend.
Yes.
So apparently there's a disconnect there. But I'm glad to hear we did have crews working, and hopefully we can work through the communication issues.
Yes, so we always have response capabilities, sir. On weekends, holidays, it doesn't matter.
I thought so, but
sure.
I guess it's just a communication issue. Thank you very much, Dr. Wilson. That's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Brea, I see your hand up. Are you on again, or did you?
Yeah, I wanted to redress something that Commissioner Epperson commented on before. Commissioner Epperson said that he would stand back and allow the first responders and others to take the vaccine first. I support that, but we do have an issue in our community of people, especially in the minority community, that are concerned about the vaccine. And of course, kind of being a man of science myself, I have a concern because I know the history of how the minority community has been treated, especially African Americans, as it related to experiments before. But given the fact that we are in a leadership position, sometimes you may have to step forward and create a sense of comfort for our community. So when I was contacted by Ms. Bryant about the vaccinations coming up. I did volunteer, and I'm calling Erica out because she did ask me, would I take it? And I told them that I would be the first in line if necessary, because it is so important when you lose so many people that you know and recognize, and they are many times disproportionately represented in those deaths. Sometimes as community leaders, you have to step forward or should step forward to give them a sense of confidence. So if I have to be the guinea pig or one of the guinea pigs to do that in order to get that support from our community for vaccinations, then I did volunteer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Braille. Mr. Everson, I show no other commissioners on the board to speak.
Right, then we will move along. Did you, are you have a president's report for Thursdays?
Wait till Thursday.
That sounds great. And then that brings us to old business, which we have none of today. And so we'll move right into new business. Our first item is 11.1. That's authorize the introduction of ordinance number 6021 of 2021. It's in relation to zoning case 20-15-P, an ordinance to amend volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the code of property located on the east corner of Ellerby Road and Stewart Drive, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 to single family residential district to C1 neighborhood commercial district, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
So move to Thursday.
Second.
All right, got a motion to move to Thursday, second by, I believe that was Commissioner Atkins.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Guys, we spoke about this before. It's on the major thoroughfare right there by the Kroger Shopping Center, the Forbing. They're going to open up a hair salon. Nobody objects to it, and the MPC gave a favorable recommendation. Mr. Everson, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Yes.
Commissioner Taliaferro.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes with 11 in support and 1 absent, none in opposition. And that brings us to the next item, which is 11.2, authorize introduction of ordinance 6022 of 2021 in relation to zoning case 20-12-P, an ordinance to amend volume 2 of the Code of
Move to
Ordinances.
advance.
Second.
All right, got a motion by, is that Vice President? Second by Cawthorn?
Burrell, the other Cawthorn.
Burrell?
Burrell.
VP, do you want to speak on that?
No. Basically, what they want to do is put a clinic up on North Market. So I don't see where there should be any oppositions to that.
Sounds good. I see no one else on the board. Mr. Everson, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts.
Yes.
Commissioner Taliaferro.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to 11.3, which is authorized introduction of ordinance 6023 of 2021 in relation to zoning case 20-16-P, an ordinance to amend volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the east side of Greenwood Spring Ridge Road, approximately 700 feet north of Meadow Creek Drive, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agricultural District to RA PUD, Rural Agricultural Planned Unit Development District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Recommend moving forward to Thursday's agenda in accordance with policy.
Second.
By the chair. All right, Commissioner Everson, would you like to speak on that?
No.
All right. I see no one else on the board. Please vote.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gage Watts,
Yes.
Commissioner Taliaferro,
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to the next item, which is 11.
Mr. President, Mr.
Hang
President.
tight, Mr. Everson. Commissioner Atkins?
Yes, sir. Could I just ask you to remind the viewers that we're just forwarding that for full consideration? As you pointed out earlier, sometimes there's confusion on that matter.
I appreciate that, parliamentarian. Just for the citizens, we're moving this forward so that we will vote on it at a later date. Today's merely the work session where we hear the discussions and we can vote on things, but they can't turn into to law today. It has to be in our legislative session. So in case somebody walks out of here thinking they got a win or a loss, it's still up for debate come Thursday.
And just to reiterate that date that you mentioned, President Chavez, that date that will be considered, the earliest it could be considered is January 21st regular session. And there will be a public hearing on that date as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Everson.
That brings us to the next item is 11.4, authorized resolution number 1 of 2021. It's a resolution to authorize the Caddo Parish Administrator to request and authorize the Louisiana State Mineral and Energy Board.
Move to in global and move to in global and advance resolution number 1, resolution number 3, resolution number 4, resolution number 5.
Second.
1, 3, and 5.
I think it was 1, 3,
1,
4,
3,
and 5.
4, and 5.
1, 3, 4,
1, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay, 1, 3, 4, and 5. Got a second by Commissioner Everson. That motion was made by LBJ. LBJ, you want to speak on that?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. I see no one on the board. Mr. Everson, roll call vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn,
Yay.
Commissioner Gage Watts,
Yes.
Commissioner Taliaferro. Commissioner Taliaferro, I didn't hear you if you responded.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you, no problem. Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to authorized resolution number 2 of 2021, which is a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, to amend the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Recommending forward to Thursday.
Second.
All right. Got a motion by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Cawthorn. Commissioner Epperson, you want to speak on that motion?
No, sir.
Okay. I show no one on the board. Mr. Everson, roll call
Hold
vote, please.
on. Hold on.
Sorry about that.
I want to say something. Yeah, I just want to say so. I know we're trying to advance it to Thursday to actually vote on it, but I want our commissioners to fully understand what this resolution would do. If this is calling for a special election, that means that the parish will be paying to have this put on a special election on the ballot, and it will cost somewhere around 200-some thousand. Am I right, Dr. Wilson, Erica?
That's
in that
correct.
dollar range.
That's correct, sir. You're right.
And those changes to the charter are not really warranted to charge use public dollars of that amount. I could see doing it in an election in which we have something on the ballot already, and we can just add that on to it. But to have it as a special election, I just think it'd be a waste of taxpayers' dollars. But I'm good with advancing it to Thursday. But I just want to give you some background information that I'll be voting no on Thursday.
on that, and maybe as a substitute motion to put it on a regular election when we have something on the ballot as well. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, VP.
If that was a motion, Mr. Chairman, I would second it.
It's not a motion.
No, it's not a motion. It wasn't a motion. It was just a discussion to let you know about coming up Thursday.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell, for the offer. Thank you, Vice President. And Mr. Everson, roll call vote.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Got Commissioner Atkins on the board, I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are correct.
Oh, yeah, I see him. Hey, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to support Commissioner Johnson's perspective on this resolution. None of these changes that we're proposing for the charter, in my view, merit a special election. I think that it would be prudent to include that vote on the next regularly scheduled election. I support Commissioner Johnson's view on that issue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Burrell?
I was just, that's the reason I was looking to second it, because I agree with Commissioner Johnson on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell.
Yeah, I'll make a substitute Thursday.
Okay. I figured that was coming. Thanks, guys. Mr. Everson, we'll move along.
Great. Okay, so Commissioner Hopkins voted yes, if I heard that correctly.
That's correct.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage-Watts.
Yes.
Commissioner Taliaferro.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Yes.
And Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to the next item is 11.9, which is the authorized approval of the 2021 audit schedule. And it is to approve the 2021 audit schedule as follows. The recommendation is the information systems security, disaster recovery, and business continuity planning, remote access. Secondly, human resources, disciplinary process, compensation, benefits administration, and open enrollment regulatory compliance.
Move to advance to Thursday.
Move.
Second.
Chair. Commissioner Atkins, you want to speak on that motion?
We spoke, yes, sir. Thank you. We spoke about this in the audit committee in December, I believe it was. Surveys were sent out to both commission members and key employees to assess the importance and the risk components associated with these various issues. And then based on those weightings and rankings, these topics were selected for the next audits. Recall that we've already done audits on some higher profile items. We're kind of down into some less high profile issues. And eventually we'll loop back up and reassess the higher profile issues. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. VP Johnson.
Yeah, I wanted to englobe the authorization of the audit schedule, the authorization to reappoint the Waterworks District Number 7 Board appointee, the authorization to reappoint the Fire District Number 6 Board appointee, the authorization to for remembrance of Andrea Shine, and to authorize a special resolution of recognition for Roseview Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. And also the last one to authorize the representatives from Overton Brooks to speak as a visitor on the 7th.
Second.
That should take us down to consent agenda.
Got it. All right. VP, I got the motion seconded by, I believe that was Commissioner Cawthorn.
I think it was Lazarus.
Commissioner Lazarus. I show no one on the board. Mr. Everson, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yay.
Commissioner Gage-Watts.
Yes.
Commissioner Talaferro,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Atkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Yes.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. And that brings us to citizens' comments, late arrivals. Would you like me to give that phone number out one more time, or?
Yes, please.
Okay. And just for the record, we have not received any additional electronic communications during the course of the meeting that we haven't already shared. The phone number would be.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Burrell.
I was looking back at the 11 point, I assume that's 11.8, authorizing, resolution number 5. Did we cover that, or did I miss that?
Is that the telecom, Commissioner?
Yes.
We did. It was under the Englobo.
Okay.
I know Mr. Everson changed some verbiage, so we'll have updated verbiage before we vote on that on Thursday.
Okay, yeah, because I have a friendly amendment to add to it.
I believe we got yours on there, but Mr. Everson, if you would send it to all the commissioners so we can confirm before we vote on Thursday.
We'll certainly do that.
Thank you.
Let me clarify, Commissioner Clerk, you added the information in. We don't have to amend it as we spoke about earlier.
Well, so it was just advanced as written, and you can amend it in the next meeting. It sounds as though, since the author, is willing to accept your amendment, that it would be a simple process. So I have already prepared it, and we'll have it available on Thursday for y'all to consider.
But we would still have to amend it, or is it already in there? Is what I'm asking.
I mean, it would be proper to amend it.
Okay. Well, that's the clarification that I needed, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Everson, for the clarification. Well, and Commissioner Burrell, I definitely want that updated. So I saw the updated one. We'll definitely be voting to amend to add the friendly amendment in the right verbiage that we would like. Mr. Everson, we'll move on to communiques and committee reports. I had no citizens' comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually didn't get a chance to give the phone number out yet for citizens' comments. That phone number is 318-226-6596. And if you would like, we can.
Sure. Let's give them a moment to call in if they want to call in.
Thank you. Again, that number is 318-226-6596.
And while we wait, parliamentarian has his hand up. Commissioner Atkins, did you need something?
Well, I was just going to take advantage of the communiques to point out an item here. Oftentimes on the commission, we notice the differences between opinions and differences on how we approach issues, but we often need to be reminded that we also have a lot in common. We're not always coming from different places, but there's a lot of common ground as well. And to really put an emphasis on that point, I wanted to point out the commonality between the white hair on my chin and the white hair on Commissioner Burrell's chin.
Well,
look, I missed something here. Say that again. I may want to speak to that.
I was just pointing out the commonality between the hair on each of our chins.
Oh, okay. A chin. We're good.
I think that's his politically correct way of saying he's stealing your look. I mean,
well, the thing is, that's not the first time I've had some Republican friends who emulated me over a period of time. But they just can't get this tan down, though.
President Chavez.
Yes, sir, Dr. Wilson.
I need to tell you one other item I forgot to tell you earlier. I
Yes,
know
sir.
we were experiencing some problems with our phone system, and we discovered that we had a hard drive that failed in one of the chassis in the government plaza building. So we got that replaced. We had a company come out that sells the equipment, update the software, so we think it's working properly now. We also checked the fax machines out; they are working fine. So we'll keep an eye on that. If anything develops, we'll let you know. Otherwise, everything should be working back in order.
Perfect. I hope it was a Caddo Parish company.
Pardon me?
It was.
I hope it was a Caddo Parish company. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Did
looks
anybody
like
call in, Mr. Everson?
we've not had any calls, and I'm sorry. I did mean to mention while y'all are under communiques still that the selection for the commission to select the 2021 officers is going to be at your next regular session, which is on Thursday the 7th.
I saw that note. Thank you for that. Commissioner Cawthorn, we'll go ahead and move on to communiques and committee reports. Commissioner Cawthorn, you want to lead us off?
Yes, I want to first start off by saying Happy New Year to everyone, and we're hopeful that this will be a prosperous New Year as the reins of democracy hangs in the balance. We're hopeful that 2021 will usher in a new philosophy, a new spirit, and a new essence of governance. And I want to also reach out to Commissioner Atkins. I think he's grown his beard in his desire to be vice president in the tradition of Abraham Lincoln, the original Republican. So congratulations to him.
Thank you, Commissioner Cawthorn. Do I have any other commissioners on here for communiques? Okay, I have none. Mr. Everson. Oh, Commissioner Epperson?
No, I just say move for adjournment. We're down the consent
Gotcha.
agenda.
Second. All right.
Second.
See you on Thursday.
All right.
Happy New Year, everybody. Take care.
Happy New Year.